Just getting things set up here real quick. If I can. Doesn't seem to want to play nice with me. That's alright. You guys don't need to see me currently. That's doing nothing exciting on my end. Just make sure microphone audio is looking alright. Alright, so today's flight we are picking up from Sapporo, Japan. After we landed and visited the, what do we got here? We've got, here, let's get rid of the clouds real quick. There we go. So in Japan, Sapporo, Japan, we've got a few places. The memorial towers and a historical village. We've got the Sapporo Beer Museum, an observatory, university museum, the university itself, TV tower, a hall, and an observation deck. I believe this is an elevated observation deck to see the city. Oh, blocky. Is it getting a little better? A little bit. It's pretty slow loading in. But that's a little concert hall. It's a rather decent sized city, that's for sure. I guess this is the downtown core, and then it more suburbs, kind of, I suppose. Anyway, we're going to be heading, taking off from Sapporo, and we're going to be heading down towards Tokyo, where we're going to check out a few things along the way. I'm going to hit up some of the airports. Look at all that traffic. There's a lot of traffic. We're going to check out a few things. I'm probably going to deviate for this. I want to hit this lake and this lake. So actually, you know what? I will... Let's remove. And I'm going to set up a waypoint right here. So it'll take us near this one, and then this little island right in the middle here. I always like the islands within an island. Within an island, within an island. So we're going to check those out. And make our way down here. I know Fukushima, I think, where the reactor had issues, I think is... Pretty sure it's right up here, I think. Not 100%. Anyway, I rewound the time slightly just because I want to fly during the day. It's a little nicer to see, so we're taking off around 1 o'clock, 1:30 local time. Using the live weather from that time, though, just because I prefer to have a... prefer to have the local local weather. Makes flying a little more interesting. Anyway, let's get down to the starship parked at Sapporo. So the planned altitude for this flight, we're gonna probably go for around anywhere between 4,000 to 8,000. I'm gonna initially go to 8,000 and see, depending upon the cloud layers and whatnot. So I do want to see a lot of stuff. I want to see Mount Fuji. That's a big one. I definitely want to see what's going on the ground. So having cloud clearance is going to be a big deal. for this particular flight. Notice today it's been loading in a lot slower than normal. Let's hop aboard. Let's get these things out here. Let's go through this. Set our weights up real quick. Okay. Left engine, right engine. Cabin and electrical are good. Cabin door is closed already. Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to go from a checklist that is not the, not necessarily the in-sim checklist, but I do want to bring up our flight plan. Route. Okay. Let's have a quick look while we're here. Okay, so ILS-1. Localizer. Sure. Let's get that in. We're going to keep it VFR, but we'll use an ILS approach just to keep things happy. We're going to go for 8,000, 080. Oops, 080. Let's recalculate for that. Apparently it thinks I'm going to do 320 knots on the ground, which is not realistic. Let's have a look at the performance figures. So this is going to look more like 200. Cruise fuel burns 700 US gallons an hour. No. I hate when it does this. This is all imported. It was done. This should be pounds, not US gallons. So I'm just going to ignore that for now because it doesn't really matter. Other than to do this. All right. So I'm going to pull up my checklist here. Got it on my kneeboard. Bear with me a moment here while I get that up. There we go. All right. We've done our pre-flight. Parking brake is set. Control locks are removed. Landing gear levers down. Battery switch can come on. And we're going to make sure our trim, I'm going to set my trim for takeoff. Skip the step of setting it at 0. Okay, trim is set. Fuel quantity is checked. Oxygen pressure 1850. Battery can come back off. Okay, cockpit checks are done. So before engine checklist, let's have a look over here. The payload tab, all items are removed. Air start door is closed and locked. Parking brake is still set. Control locks are removed. Circuit breakers left. All are in. Left knee panel. And right. All looking good. Go to our audio panel. COM 1. Marker beacon. We're on COM 1. Looks good. Static source is set to normal. Oxygen supply can come on. So that pull handle there. Ice protection is all currently off. Landing gear lever 3 down. And gear anti-skid switch. Center reversionary left. All looks good. Standby indicator. This can come on. We'll get a on battery power notification. Electric gyro spinning up. You can hear it in the background. Power levers are in idle. Props can go full forward. I've got to move this out of the way here real quick. We're going to set a prop to pull forward for now. Oh, kidding. What's going on here? Okay, full forward, idle. Because of my bindings, let's do this manually. Okay, there we go. Prop levers, condition levers, cut off, bleed air is off, temp is off. Right audio panel as desired. We're going to leave everything currently off there. Right reversionary, leaving that as it is. Circuit breakers check. Battery can now come on. We're going to get our ICAS coming on as well. Okay. We're in our triple feed bus, 25.3. We need 22, and central we need 23. We're good on both. Fuel system check. We're going to check over here. Open these valves. On the plane, these are actually usually safety wired shut. There's a little piece of safety wire that goes from there to there. Just because if you open that and press that, you're going to set off your extinguishers. Not a good thing to do on the ground, unless, of course, you have a fire. All right, so we're going to push our firewall valves. We're going to get closed, and we're going to get extinguished. Okay. All right, that's good. Extinguish lights on. Let's get our standby pumps to on. Both left and right standby pumps on. Fuel pressure low light is on. We're going to close these valves. Or, sorry, open them again, I should say. Extinguished will go away. And pressure lights will go away. And then we're going to check our crossfeed. Left side. Actually, we need to do that with standby pumps off, sorry. Alternate left and right. Oops. Hang on. Standby pumps off. Left, we're going to see right light goes up. Right, we're going to see left light goes up. Means the pumps are turning on. We're going to do an avionics Explorer motor check, which is this guy right here. We got, is it up there? Let's see here. Avionics air fail message is on. That should disappear. And the CAS message is alt air blower is on. So that is working. Blower can come back off. Avionics air fail message should come back. Yep, it is back. Fuel quantity, good. Oxygen pressure, we are good. Light masters, let's go over here. Master lights can come on. Seatbelts can come on. Strobe light can come on. Nav lights can come on. Can't forget that one. All right, on battery pallets. So we're going to full forward. Confirmed. Condition lever is currently in cutoff. Right engine start. We're going to go right engine starter to on. 12% N1. Goes to start. ITT is going to peak at 893. We got temperatures coming up. Oil pressures coming up. Temps and pressures are in the green. 50% N1, we can kill the starter, which we're already over. And we can get the right generator to test and on. Right engine can go to run. Good start on right. 28, 27, okay, we're good. Left engine start. Same process. Left to start. 12%. N1. Monitor ITT. 911 peak. Temperatures and pressures are coming up. N1 is coming up to 50%. It's 50. Starter can come off. Generator on and test. Sharing load. Above 60%, we can go to run. That's a good start on second engine. Left engine. Okay. We're going to check our gen ties. Gen ties open. Cast message. We've got Parallel within 10%. Yes, they are. And return back to mid position or normal. Okay, let's tune ground. Maybe not. No.
Sapporo ground, Beechcraft, November 786 Bravo Papa. Could you please send a fuel truck?
Well, let's cancel.
Beechcraft, November 786 Bravo Papa. A fuel truck is on the road.
Cancel.
Sapporo ground, Beechcraft, November 786 Bravo Papa. I am done with fuel services.
Yeah, I'm done with them. Okay, not so much. All right, let's have a look in the tablet then. 23 feet. 1026. So let's get that over here. Get that over here. Close it up. And let's get our instruments coming on. Standby is still on. Bleed air can now go to both. Heat can go to auto. It's 11 degrees C in here. Hopefully get a little warmer. Flaps are currently retracted. Okay, it's uncaged. Perfect. Cabin lights are already there. Let's initialize our AHRS. We're going to get a message for alignment. We're going to update from our VLF. And we're going to get a message about alignment. Let's fuel management. What do we got? 995 and 995. Okay. So time. So around 1983. We're going to go 1982 by the time we get that entered. So there's our fuel. 2 passengers. No, we've got 1 passenger. 120 pounds. So current weight is 12,240. We're going to go for 12 for our calculations for takeoff purposes. ATC. Put that in there. Flight plan. Okay, because the flight plan has some GPS waypoints, I'm going to load that, but I'm also going to load the PMS of the GTN 750, which is right there. Okay. So it's flight plan, master caution. Back. We're going to flight plan. We're going to menu. We're going to import. from ATC. Okay, let's have a look at what that's going to look like on the map. Okay, that's all right for now. All right. So this is going to be part of a I guess technically the run up, but I'm going to do it here. So I'm going to test my annunciators. Annunciator panels coming on. Got lots of stuff there. We're going to check our fire detect left, fire detect on the right. It's illuminated. Fire extinguished. Okay. We're going to check our fuel warning. Stall warning. Landing gear. Bleed air. Flap monitor. Aux battery. Battery monitor. Pressure. Actually look at the gauge in the bottom right corner there. You'll see the pressure start going down. This is testing the cabin pressurization. It's actually going negative. Okay. Vacuum system test. Standby surface de-ice test. You can see you get the messages and you also get the reading here. You'll see this pressure drop. Main. Okay. All those tests are good. Pressurization is set. We're only going to 8,000 feet. We don't need to mess with that. And what was it? 1026. So let's see if it sets. 1026. Okay, we're happy with those. CDU. That's it. Already done. Radar controls currently in standby. Transponder CDU set to standby. Nav radios, nothing there. Autopilot. We're going to go for nav. Vertical speed. Let's do 1500 a minute. Inner climb. Okay, pitch and roll, yeah, okay, those are good. FMS is already set up. Okay, so taxi lights can come on. And where are we departing to exactly? Should remember that, but hey. So roughly to the south.
Beechcraft, November 786 Bravo Papa. Taxi to the active, south departure. Taxiway Bravo Alpha. Contact tower on 126.2 when ready.
Gotta love that.
Taxiing. Hold short runway 14 via taxiway Bravo Alpha. Beechcraft 6 Bravo Papa.
Okay, I'm gonna get this back in here. Just because it is a much clearer picture of the ground. And our present position displayed. Go. Map. We're going to taxi to 14. Alright, let's get rid of that for the time being. Park brake is off. Let's go to the right here. You do taxi and ground fine. It's usually enough thrust to get things moving. I believe taxi lights, yes they are. Taxi lights are on. Brake test. Brakes are good. Steering's good. Set our elevation to 8,000 feet. Try to keep under 20 knots taxi speeds. Squeaky, squeaky. Do like my taxi ruins. Just makes a little more sense with the Xbox ATC, as they'll call out weird, very, very weird taxi instructions that make absolutely no sense for that airport. Okay, holding short. Let's get to the tower.
Sapporo Tower, Beechcraft, November 786 Bravo Papa ready at runway 14, south departure. Beechcraft, November 786 Bravo Papa. Altimeter tree 030 south departure approved. Cleared for takeoff runway 14. Cleared for takeoff runway 14. Beechcraft 6 Bravo Papa.
I really wish they'd, you know, make some effort with these lights. I'm going to back taxi slightly because I want to utilize as much of the runway as I can. This thing is a rocket ship when it's in the air, but on the ground it is ridiculously runway heavy. Let's get lined up here. Before takeoff checklist, we're going to get to our auto feather to come on. Barrow is set. Stall warning. Heat, pitot heat, control heat. Windshields can go on low. Control cables can come on. Get all those heats on. Don't need inertial separator. Anti-ace, we're good. Windshield heat is low. Bleed air is currently on both. Engine auto ignition is required. Seeing as we don't have any weather or anything, we're good there. Flaps, we're going to set our flaps. There's only one position in the Starship. It's either up or down. So flaps are currently down. Trim is still good. Set for takeoff. Autopilot, we're good. Transponder, we can go to on. And since we're on the runway, let's get our my ground map. And I'm actually going to set that. Okay. We're good for takeoff. So takeoff, we've got clearance. We're going to go to 94% roughly on our torque. Good there. Do not exceed 100%. At 94, that'll get us to roughly 100% once it's rolling. Once rolling, pitch to 8 degrees, gear up. Okay. Once above 130, roll track flaps. Brake release. Our V1 is going to be 98, rotate at 106, and V2 is 117, based upon our weight, roughly 1,200 pounds. We're going to ignore that pitot overheat just because we are on the roll now. 98, 100, 106. You rotate. 8 degrees. Gear can come up. Flaps can come up.
Beechcraft 6 Bravo Papa. Continue for south departure.
There's my funny yoke.
6 Bravo Papa. Leaving my airspace. Frequency change approved.
Sapporo Tower, Beechcraft, November 7, 8, 6 Bravo Papa. Frequency change.
Rocket ship table, 130 knot climb.
Sapporo approach.
There we go.
Beechcraft, November 7, 8, 6 Bravo Papa is type Beechcraft Starship. 2 miles northeast of Romeo Juliet Alpha Mike Golf, 2900. Request flight following.
Beechcraft November 7, 8, 6 Bravo Papa. Sapporo approach. Squawk 1565.
1565, 6 Bravo Papa.
Beechcraft 6 Bravo Papa. Radar contact 3 miles east of Romeo Juliet Alpha Mike Golf, 4500. Altimeter tree 027.
Beechcraft 6 Bravo Papa, did you copy?
30276
Roger.
Bravo Papa.
Beechcraft 6 Bravo Papa.
Got icing. Inertial separators coming on. I don't want altitude hold. Vertical speed. Up. Oh. What are you doing, man?
Beechcraft 6 Bravo Papa, contact Tokyo Center on 132.6. Good day.
13266 Bravo Papa.
132.6. Beechcraft 6 Bravo Papa.
And we're going to come back on our power. It's a very quick climb to 8,000 feet.
Tokyo Center, Beechcraft November 786 Bravo Papa, 8200.
So
Beechcraft
we need
November
to
78.
come down.
Beechcraft 6 Bravo Papa, contact Sapporo approach on 133.0. Good day.
Why would I do that?
Going to 133.0. Beechcraft 6 Bravo Papa.
Come back on the power. 1600. On the RPM. What does it want me to contact approach? Let's get our yaw damper on. Excuse me.
6 Bravo Papa, 8100.
Beechcraft November 786 Bravo Papa. Sapporo approach. Altimeter tree 027. Radar contact continue.
Thanks. Okay. Let's get that out of the way there. And let's pull this out. Okay, so off the left here, if we're lucky, I'm going to ask for... Can I ask for a reduction in altitude? No, that's okay. We're going to go down to 6,000 feet. Oh, we're going to go vertical speed. Nothing major. I'll pull back slightly on the power because we're getting real fast. %65 on power. We're doing 240 knots. That's pretty crazy. Nav source, we're gonna go FMS. And it's gonna bring us back on course here. And that 6,000 feet should get us out of the clouds, I'm hoping. Or at least below them. What do we got? Radar. Got the ground mapping radar on. I also do have it on my pop-out Gina 750 here. Just a monitor. This is a nice add-on. I You can see I'm definitely enjoying this just simply for the fact that I have integrations like having charts. Right now, RJSN, let's have a quick look. So it's ignored my custom waypoint, which I fully kind of expected it would. So just gonna pick up on the airports here. So here. So let's have a look at that map again. Still descending at 500 feet to go. Hopefully that gets us right out of the clouds. Or at least out of them well enough to see. So I do want to check out this little island within an island. I think that's super cool. And then off to the right here is going to be a mountain. Somewhere. Maybe we're just flying right over top of it right now, but controls.
Beechcraft 6 Bravo Papa contact Tokyo Center on 132.6. Good day.
1326, 6 Bravo Papa, good day.
132.6. Beechcraft 6 Bravo Papa. Tokyo Center, Beechcraft November 786 Bravo Papa, 6100. Beechcraft November 786 Bravo Papa, Tokyo Center, altimeter tree 027. Radar contact continue.
So, let's see that lovely mountain right there. Let's hop out and have a look. Check out the mountains. So that's what that is right there. That's the mountaintop. It's picking up the ground radar. Or terrain radar, I should say. Just turn off those waypoints. Don't need to see those. Yeah. So this is going to be a pretty easy one. So this is going to be the island within an island. It's kind of a cool situation. I guess just because this is, you know, Japan is all volcanic. I think, or there's a lot of volcanoes. Oh, look at a little boat. Another boat. What are those boats? I feel like those are awful big boats for such a small body of water. You can see the very cool little island within an island. Very cool. Just going to leave the inertial separators on for now. As we poke through the clouds, you're going to get ice trying to get in the engines. Just got ice. Those misty clouds. We're going to shoot that all off through the inertial separator. This little flap right here prevents the icing from going into the engine itself. So that flap being closed diverts all that stuff out a little pipe. So basically out the a flap in the engine cowling and prevents it from being ingested by the engine. It's a good thing because turbines are really expensive to repair. Moisture isn't a bad thing, but having a bunch of ice getting in there can definitely damage the engine. And because these engines are free spinning, so there's no actual coupling between the intake side and the exhaust side of the turbine, these spin freely. There's no shaft that joins them right there. So it is just done by the centrifugal force of the turbine spinning, creating the compressed air, which then spins this turbine, which then spins the propeller. Obviously, introducing fuel and spark and all that good stuff, but it's an overly simplified version of how that works. But it works well. 50C. We're going to ignore that for now. I'm going to put my, let's get that back on, my noise cancelling headset on and enjoy. We are in cruise. We do not need this on. We can sync our props. And here we are. Across this little bay. It's out in the ocean there, and off to our right, we're going to see some land. I didn't do too much research on exactly what is in this general area, but I believe Fukushima, which a lot of people will be familiar with from the nuclear disaster that they had after that large earthquake and tsunami. I believe Fukushima, the actual nuclear facility, is somewhere here. If I'm wrong, please tell me. There we go. Yeah, so right where I came from, there's some taller mountains over there. We're going to have to kind of weave a line through here. We're actually going to head over this direction because that red right there should be the top of Mount Fuji. That's where we want to go. That's where I want to go. You guys are along for the ride, so yeah. Okay, and we can do some utility stuff. So VNAV calculations. Let's actually go back to our flight plan procedures. Flight plan. RJSN. I believe that is where we're going to be landing. Just confirm. RJTA. It's weird how...
Beechcraft 6 Bravo Papa contact, Tokyo Center on 119er decimal tree. Good day.
1193, good day.
119er decimal tree. Beechcraft 6 Bravo Papa.
See, I also did this in SimBrief, so we'll have a look here. RJCO to RJNS. No. Cancel. Import. Send this again. Send it to the avionics again. Not liking how it was displaying things here. Menu, import, some ATC. We're back in the clouds. Let's go down. Vertical speed. – 500 feet a minute. And let's see here. RJTA. Flight plan. RJTA. Insert. Before. There we go, that's a better look. Okay. This will be set destination. RJTA. And, oh yeah, here we go. Nav. Nav source is FMS. Okay, let's have a look at the flight plan again. And procedures. Arrival I don't believe there are any, but approach. ILSY. Transition. Soyen. Soina. Okay. Load the approach. Have another look at our... It's bumpy down here. Getting tossed around. Get rid of that. That's a 22 knot headwind. That'll do that. Okay, and cool. Flight plan is not following FMS. Not at all. Interesting. Okay. Direct to. It's alright. We'll get some coastal views. The RPM 1600. And I think what I may do is fly this on the autopilot. Flight plan. What am I doing? What is it doing? Throw me towards the ground. That's cool. Menu. That's annoying. Why is it fighting me like this? Flight plan, menu, import, ATC. Okay. Autopilot. Nav. And we're wanting 5,000 feet. Here we go. Okay. Add a waypoint. We gotta do this again, unfortunately. RJTA. Oops. Let's make sure we hit all the letters. Romeo, Juliet, Tango, Alpha. This is going to become our destination. JTA. So destination airports. Now we're going to do our procedures. Our approach. Approach is an ILSY. Cyan transition. We're going to load that approach. And I believe we can. Should yaw dampener kicked off because the autopilot and all that good stuff kicked off. All right. Here we go. Back on course. 5,000 feet. Heading towards 5,000 feet anyway. Let's have a look at the flight plan. 1,000 feet away. So for flying, we have 3,600 feet. $3,600. Enter. Go with an at. It's actually at or above. Not even understanding. Cyan, rum. There you go. Looks like 5,000 feet's a decent altitude. Keeps us close to the ground. Pokak. Pokak. Might be better. No, it won't be better displayed on there. So I would like to use my utilities, VNAV calculator, target altitude 3,600. Yeah, 500 feet a minute. That's good. 1 minute offset. Target waypoint. So that should hopefully give me a top of descent bug or notification. There it is. That should be the top of descent to go from my 5,000 to 3,600. Soyona. Cool. We like this. Perfect, perfect. Cruising along here. Let's just run through our cruise checklist real quick. Make sure we've got everything good. We're at 63, 64% power. We're going to leave that is 1600. Auto feather is currently off. Sync is on. Anti-IS is required. Passenger signs is required. Pressurization. Monitor top of descent. Calculate. Cross check. So top of descent. So to do a top of descent manually, we can do a few things. So we're going to start our descent. So again, we need to be at 3,600 feet for the beginning of our descent. So we can take our cruise altitude, which is currently 5,000. One second here. There it is. So we're at 5,000 feet. And this is a rule of thumb for descent. So we're going to use a 4-degree top of descent calculators for normal descent rate. So we're going to go our descent path 4 degrees. So we're going to take our current cruise altitude of 5,000 minus our target altitude of 3,600. That gives us a 1,400 feet we need to descend. We're going to divide by 1,000. It's 1.4. That's 1.4 nautical miles to make that descent. We're going to add 10 nautical miles. It's 11.4. So 11.4 nautical miles prior to the descent point would be the correct way to calculate this if we were to just be descending from like a pretty high altitude. You know, if we were in the flight levels, because we're at 5,000 feet, there's really no point in having that out. So I might start the descent 1.6 nautical miles out. I'm not sure what the descent calculator in here is going to use. But it's going to tell me begin my descent 1 hour and 33 minutes based upon my current speed. Target altitude 3,600, descending at 500 feet a minute, and to reach the target waypoint. So we want to do it before. So that's one way to do it. So for this, you know, it's usually recommended to do a your descent preparation 50 nautical miles before top of descent. Again, because we are flying at such a low altitude, 5,000 feet. Where in, you know, general aviation, we would be seeing little Cessnas and things like that from where we're flying, based upon our current altitudes and whatnot. So there, you have to take that into consideration. 50 nautical miles before, it might be a little extra. I'd say after we have a look at Mount Fuji, that perhaps that would be a time to consider a descent. Just get a quick photo there. Gotta find that thumbnail in the flight, right? Oops. Reset that view here. Yeah, so right now our Apparently our speed bug here is set for some high rate of speed. Oh, looks like it's getting my jacket in there too. Alright. So you have a look at the world map. So let's check, was I right? Was Fukushima over here? I feel like there's more than one Fukushima, which is what kind of throws me off. Maybe I was wrong. Okay. Then is it over here? Yamamoto. Shinaki. Onagawa. See, because there's a Fukushima that is inland here. I'll have to do some more research, but obviously nothing from that disaster will be modeled in the sim. We're going to head over here. Mount Fuji, 12,389 feet is its peak. That's pretty cool. Yeah, so still got a little ways to go here. Staying off the coast, well within gliding distance of the coast anyway. Of an airport, maybe not so much, but apparently there's a load of wind turbines that should be. There's some right there. It's a wind turbine farm. There they are, just as depicted on the map here. More ships, boats, awful big boats. Well, I guess this being harbor, it makes sense. I'm guessing right in here, this is due to seaplane operations, ground to 20,000 feet. So right now we're kind of snaking in between. We're going to transition some airspaces in here. We've got, what is this? Romeo, Juliet, Sierra Alpha. So this is, I don't know, all this stuff is really cool. Having this ability, I think, is pretty amazing. Let's get back to our flight plan here. Approach info. I could have sworn this guy had RJTA. No charts available. Hey, look at all those wind turbines. And they're going. Well, in my experience in California and Palm Springs, I'd say half of them seem to not be spinning. What do we got? Fuel planning, use sensor data, present position, onboard fuel, fuel flow, ground speed. See how accurate that is. Fuel flow. I think we're safe to turn off our inertial separators. Actually see that speed start to pick back up because the engines become more efficient. See if we can't get roughly 60. So right now, it's saying fuel at will have 120-ish pounds when we arrive at our current fuel flow. That's cutting it close. Apparently, we can control our autopilot from here, which is interesting. Can't do flight level change. Oh, what? Maybe we can. Oh, that's something I gotta play with. That could be interesting. Now, the Starship doesn't actually have that feature. It does have kind of an interesting feature here, where it has a programmed kind of like a VNAV or flight level change. It's indicated airspeed change. So if you select the IAS profile, what it does is as you climb through your altitudes, the actual speed at which you're supposed to be climbing is going to decrease. So it will automatically do that in your climb profile. Descent, I believe, works somewhat the same way. I'm not fully sure though. It kind of picks a speed at which it thinks it should be working correctly at. So we got 230 knots. Let's pull back ever so slightly. $54. our fuel flow a little more manageable too. Pull back a little bit, we're 216 pounds. So we've got an additional 100 pounds just by slowing down just 10 knots. Terrain-wise, we've got enough clearance. 200, still 230 knots across the ground, despite the 50 knot crossing headwind. That's pretty good. And we've got our terrain mapping here on our 3. There we go. That's good. So this is the ground mapping radar. I love the depiction of the starship. It's even kind of accurate. Got the forward wings. Anyway, it's showing some ground that's getting closer in its old CRT way. Guess we can do that, can't we? What do we got for localizers? Let's have a look at flight plan menu. Nope, that's not the one. Utilities map. One 11475. Actually, let's go nav. One 475 ADF. And ADF is on. Actually, that should be localizer, shouldn't it? Yeah. That localizer would be off to the left there. Which makes complete sense. Okay. What else we got? Is there a better one out here? Oh. There we go. 11065. It's not going to pick anything up. Yep. Alright, we're nearing our next waypoint. Good on fuel, we should get there just above 200 pounds. Ooh, it's bumpy. Fujisato. So that's what's coming up here. Fujisato. Wonder what's over there. And would it be so cool to spend some time in Japan? A little bit of farming, looks like. rivers. Oh, that's some dark looking cloud over there. Noshiro. Looks like there'll be a larger city off to the right there, or left. Right on the map, left in the plane. Can't really see it currently. Got that lovely so their speed to 200. That was what our flight plan was actually for, was 200 knot cruise speed. Now I do wonder, via Navigraph, will my plane, should be, try to reload. Reload my Navigraph here. So it looks like even though the GTN 750 is synced to my Navigraph subscription, SimBrief. Let's go my SimBrief. It's got currently connected. So unfortunately, no charts available. RJSK. So there is, there is information available. which is nice. Okay, well, I kind of want to do this. Maybe we're going to change our destination airports. There seems to be a lot of chart info out here. What about RJTY? Okay. That's alright. Not going to mess with it now. That's something to do in pre-flight planning. Shouldn't be messing with that now. One thing I did notice is my Dukes have all stopped working. I went to load in yesterday to try to fly the Duke, the turbine Duke specifically, and yeah, it was not working correctly. It in fact showed that pink purple texture that you get for planes that are missing textures or don't load in correctly. I remember that was a big deal for FS 2020 quite some time back, and yeah, there's a lot of stuff loading in. If you didn't have, a certain livery, somebody was running that livery, it would display the plane as being all pink checker pattern, which was interesting. But it's doing that in the Duke now, and I thought it might have been something to do with the GTN 750 that I recently downloaded. But I disabled it and tried it again, and it loaded in incorrectly. Figuring, okay, maybe there's an issue with the GTN 750. So right now I'm using it in the Starship, despite the fact the Starship, as far as a Garmin GPS unit, is using a 430. This 430 can be, I guess, kind of slaved by using the 750 here, which is really nice because it's a pop out and I don't have to scroll down, and I can view a lot of information similar to what you'd have on 4Flight if you're flying. Which when I do fly, I've usually got 4Flight open on my my knee pad on my iPad, which is on my knee or my kneeboard, and yeah, following along in my flight, you get a lot more situational awareness, a lot more information. It is truly nice to have that level of information available to you when you're flying. You do get some traffic information. Obviously, it's not a flight instrument. You're not supposed to fly off of it, but in a pinch, if you're up in a 172 and you lose electrical, you're flying IFR flight or something like that, and you've still got you've got 4Flight on your knee, and you can then you have a tool, even though it's not a precision tool, it's not certified tool. It is something that theoretically you could use that may save you, which is pretty cool. I think. Alright, we're approaching the next airport here. We're going to be making our turn momentarily. There it is. Boy, that's stuttery. Man, oh man. I don't know if that's an Xbox thing or a flight sim thing. I am currently running outside of the beta. I thought that might be one of the issues. Why the... there we go, arriving at the waypoint, perfect. Why the Duke was showing up incorrectly, as there are minor updates that happen, and when they do, it can break stuff in sim. So I was looking at that. Actually, I'm checking right now on the forum here. And it seems like a Black Square developer can't seem to figure it out either. It seems like people are indicating that they had an issue with pink planes, and the solution was they loaded in on Xbox, uninstalled, disabled it, and re-enabled the Duke, and it fixed the issue. So maybe that'll be the next attempt. Just check the Discord here, see if there's anything. No change there. Okay. Okay, well, I mean, it is what it is. I unfortunately can't control a lot of that. All right. Cool. Let's now show 53. We're gonna explore motors. Okay, that's fine. Field planning. There we go. See the world shooting by. What are we? 80 nautical miles. 89.2. The next turn. And then that turn, I believe we're going to have to do some climbing. So red is dead. We don't like red. Turn our blower off. Got any failures coming up? Nothing actively failed. Engines seem happy. Payload, co-pilot. Why isn't she showing up? Ah, there we go. She's here now. She must have been in the washroom or something. Go. Man, it's getting cold out these days. Christmas hamper program at my kid's school. It's always good to see. Okay. Close that up. Okay. Plane seems happy. Slowing down a little though. See if the fuel flow is also slowing down. Let's leave it where it's at. We're not in any kind of hurry. 75 nautical miles until we're at our next waypoint. So apparently Jepson and 4Flight are going to combine, are going to end up under combined ownership. So Boeing is selling off 4Flight. That's interesting. That's also, I don't know. I don't know how many of you guys follow aviation stuff. Hey man, yeah, for sure. Come, I'm happy to fly with you. Is it Ropalisam? Palisam? Yeah, I'm happy to fly with anybody really. It's always a lot of fun. This world tour thing has always been something. I mean, I started one way back when 2020 came out, and I honestly, at that time, I was doing, real world flight training. So a lot of my time that I would have been in sim messing about, I was actually learning how to fly. So that killed time, and then because that also took me away from um, my family, I also had to consider, giving up a lot of the time. Now I've gone through all my flight training, so I have more free time there, which is nice, which is definitely nice. I definitely plan on going back. Um, I'd I'd love to do more. I feel like it is something where you can never get enough. Once you've got your PPL, then you're going to work on various different um, certifications or certificates. One of the things locally a lot of pilots that I know do are float ratings, because I'm in the west coast of Canada. We've got loads and loads of rivers, lakes, ocean, obviously, and there's tons of float operations that are around here. So that's something I'd love to do. I'd love to get a tail wheel endorsement. Again, that's it's kind of funny because that's where all planes started. They were all tail wheel. So that's just kind of how a normal plane is supposed to work. But because the tricycle landing gear has become so commonplace, it is something that they now have to teach. So there's that. I'd like to do that as well. I've been in and flown tailwheel planes. They're not abundantly difficult by any means, but yeah, they take some adjustment to fully, I guess, be able to be proficient with them. You know, if in a situation where you kind of need to react and not think so much, it can become a problem if you're not well trained, and it's not kind of muscle memory. It can get you in a pickle. Most common thing I think is probably just ground looping in a tailwheel plane. But I've got a friend of mine who owns a little former, I guess, a former military training plane from Canada. It's a little tailwheel plane, and him and his girlfriend, they go flying in it all the time. That's what he learned in. That's what his dad flew in. So it was just commonplace for him. Flying 172s, 152s was kind of boring. They were. He was taking a step into something that was easier to fly. And a lot of people don't do that direction, but that was cool. So now that I have more time to fly in sim, I'm definitely open to any opportunity to hop in and fly with somebody, as long as I've got the time to do it. I'm in there to do it. Definitely slowing down a little. It's one of the downsides of not having a FADEC controlled engine. You know, when you set the torque percentage to 50% in a FADEC engine, it does everything to maintain that. Non-FADEC mechanically linked planes like the Starship, you have to do the maintaining. You are the FADEC. So what are we getting on our... So I think perhaps what's going to happen with today's flight is we're going to get close to Mount Fuji. But I'm thinking perhaps basically looking at fuel here. Because if I look at my fuel planning's got me arriving my destination airport with roughly 100 pounds of fuel. That's cutting it really, really close. As far as fuel planning, that's, you know, you don't really want to cut into your reserves, and that's, I should have definitely planned for more fuel. Obviously, being a sim, I can just go in here and payload and go click, 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 and suddenly we've got more fuel, which that's a possibility too. I think maybe I'll see where we're at when we actually get closer to our destination airport. Waypoint info. Frequencies. Look, those numbers are getting small. We've got nothing in our aft tank at all. So, doing some fuel conserving here. Just cruising right around 200 knots, which was our planned flight speed. Ground speed of a 203. And thanks for the follow, brother. Appreciate it. Brother. You know. Today's the 4th. We have a message. What is the message? Update VLF. On this turn, this will bring us inland of Japan. We'll break those clouds, and I think we're going to have to do some climbing, which might be problematic with our field situation. It's funny. Yeah, again, I mean, this is a sim, so you can do whatever you want, but I've been reading a book, Spaceship Diaries, or sorry, Starship Diaries, by a fellow who flew a plane, the Starship. He flew, I guess, airframe number 19, RN19, I think they refer to it as. He flew it all over the world for 2 years. He owned a tech business right at the, when the tech industry was booming. He sold the stock, bought a plane, sold his stuff, and traveled the world for 2 years in a Beechcraft Starship. And it wasn't just, like we're doing in the sim here. He flew from San Diego, his first flight, San Diego to Hawaii. He had ferry tanks installed and made that flight, which was really cool. But when he got there, he had the tanks removed, which, if he isn't taking additional cargo or anything else, I think the ferry tanks were a great idea. Just extend your range, give you more flexibility. But he had them removed. And then I figured, if you feel a plan, real world flying, obviously, you don't just run down to your airport, hop in your plane, and make a flight because you thought it was a cool idea. You actually have to do planning. For all my real world flying, it's usually the day before or the day of, depending upon the type of flight plan that I'm going to be doing. I'll sit down and calculate my weight and balance estimations, and fuel burn, and look at the weather and all that kind of stuff, so that you get a better understanding of what you're about to fly into. Whereas in the sim, you have the luxury of just going, well, whatever, hop in, and it is what it is. If I need more fuel, I can click a button and not run out of fuel, which is a very cool luxury you don't have when you're in a plane. So, but I was reading a chapter in the book last night, and he was talking about his field planning. And it seems like it keeps coming up real short. Now that he's got the ferry tanks, or the auxiliary tank, removed from the plane, he is having situations where he's getting down to basically running on fumes, coming into an approach and knowing that he doesn't have the fuel to do a go-around. So having to nail that landing, which to me is kind of frightening, right? But I think I'm in that position right now. I've got on board right now, I've got 620 pounds, 622 and decreasing. My fuel flow is 652 an hour, for both engines, right? So fuel required to my destination, which is an airport, we're requiring 488 pounds, 487 pounds. And I've got 618 on board, leaving 132 pounds of fuel remaining, which is roughly 12 minutes of fuel. That's not good. That's rather bad, in fact. But it's it is what it is. Right now, I'm at 53%. I can pull back a little. Let's get it down to 50%. It'll take a minute to stabilize. And the way they've modeled this aircraft, you do have engines that operate slightly different. So my left engine seems to be slightly stronger than my right. So at 50% torque, or in this case, what was it? 49 and 49. Oh, that's too much, maybe. Let's see, 1550. Fuel flows right around the same. So now, 132, we're looking at 135. So I found a little bit more fuel savings in there. But you're seeing is at a headwind, even though we've pulled back, we're technically using less fuel. I'm losing my fuel range because now I'm fighting the wind. And that's exactly what happened to this guy, Dallas. Dallas Ketchum. He, in a Starship, he was making a flight. He figured he had the fuel planning sorted out. He had a tailwind, making good time, good speed. Everything looked to be working out great. And, he's in the tropics. I think this flight was from a tropical island I can't remember the name of, but it's a research island. So he flew from Hawaii to this island, got stuck on the island for 2 months. He got really sick and couldn't fly, so he was stuck on the island for 2 months, waited there, got better, and then flew from there to Fiji. And on the flight to Fiji, he had a great tailwind. Everything was going as expected. And he's, busy looking out the window, enjoying the views, contemplating life. He's doing this flight on his own. He's got nobody else on the plane. He's got nobody monitoring other than himself. And what ends up happening is he stops paying attention to the instruments in front of him. And didn't notice that his tailwind suddenly became a headwind. So right now I've got a 13-knot headwind. He had a tailwind before. He's got a headwind. He doesn't know how long that headwind was there, but now his fuel planning is leaving him with arriving to his destination with not enough fuel. Not going to make it. And, he pulls back on the power to conserve fuel. But again, at some point, when you're conserving fuel, you're going to run into situations where
Niigata approach. Beechcraft, November 786 Bravo Papa, 5000.
Beechcraft, November 786 Bravo Papa. Niigata approach. Altimeter 3030. Radar contact. Continue.
You're going to run into situations where you need to do stuff. So he throttled back, hoping to save fuel. But there is also a point where you pulling back on the power will reduce your fuel consumption, but you're increasing drag to the point where you've lost the efficiency. So now you're fighting more drag, and you're actually going to burn more fuel to travel that same distance. So that's why they've got performance charts. That's why if you look at a POH on any plane, it's going to have advised speeds. Which is very important, because if you don't run those advised speeds and fuel flows and power settings, you're gonna lose performance, and that's not a good thing to have happen when you have no fuel. And like I'm seeing right now, My 13 knot headwind is now a quartering crosswind. So quartering cross. So we've actually picked up a bit of fuel flow, or a bit more efficiency with that crosswind. And hopefully maybe the winds will die down. We'll see. But this is a pretty cool tool within the PMS 50's GTN 750, which you can now finally get on Xbox. Hopefully that opens up some avenues for other add-ons which previously were not available. Stuff like Navigraph. Having in-sim Navigraph, that would be great. Toolbar pop in here. Fantastic. You could have Navigraph, you could have SimBrief for every aircraft in sim. That would, I think, keep a lot of people on Xbox who would otherwise be looking to upgrade to PC. Obviously, with PC, you have way more customization available. You've got tons of free stuff you can get versus having to pay for it on an Xbox. But I think that would kind of scratch the itch that many have. I know for me, having SimBrief integration, having Navigraph integration, it was huge in 2020 on the Honda Jet and Vision Jet. I flew those a ton because of the integration that they had. It made life so much easier. And then you could also have, with the charts and everything in Sim, you could also have it on your tablet outside of Sim. So I had, on my kneeboard, I had my iPad open, I had Navigraph open, I could see my aircraft specifically on the Navigraph charts in front of me, on my knee, in the plane. And definitely a big immersion factor as well, right? So, all right, let's see. Red is dead. Red is less than 500 feet. So, I think we're going to have to go up, 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 banana. You know, the whole, yeah, K-pop demon hunters. I've got kids. So, we're going to go up 500 feet a minute. I'm not going to increase my power levels. I'm just going to let it climb unless we get below the blue line, which is right around 130. But we want more clearance. More clearance is good. You can see it on the onboard radar. The ground, or the colored section, seems to be slowly disappearing. On the GTN 750, it looks like it's doing the same thing. It's more green is appearing, more and yellow is appearing, red's starting to diminish. .500 a minute climb, 180 knots true. That's plenty fast. I want to get my heading bug aligned here.
Beechcraft 6 Bravo Papa, contact Tokyo Center on 124.1. Good day.
124.1, good day.
124.1 for Beechcraft 6 Bravo Papa.
And sorry about the radio silence there for a minute. Fortunately, it sounds like my daughter is not feeling great, so I'm going to be heading to pick her up shortly here. Hopefully we can see how much speed we can eke out of this. Let's add some get there-itis. Looks like the fuel required to get there is going to be... yeah, this is going to be a close one. This is going to be just like the Dallas Ketchum, who... because I'm not using the FMS, I'm currently flying on the GPS. My position is not updating like it normally would. So this flight I'm doing mostly via GPS. Ground speed 255. Let's have another look at the terrain map. So I'm clear terrain-wise on the remainder of the flight. My top of descent's probably changed. So 21 minutes and 38 seconds. I'm going to hit my top of descent. Let's see how close we get to the terrain below. Should have, there we go, radar altitude 2,400, 2,500 feet above the ground. So it's picking up altitude directly below the aircraft. Oh, 24, 25. It's almost like the air above mountains is just squished. It's like little speed bumps. Bigger mountains, bigger bumps. Well, the terrain directly in front of me is going to be much closer from the looks of it. And that fuel flow, £40, apparently. I think it should be, theoretically, should be okay. This is not okay when it comes to real world flights. This kind of stuff can get you in huge trouble, if not killed. So, definitely, definitely don't do this. But we've got very little fuel. Such little fuel, it's not funny. Yeah. So we'll see, but in theory, our fuel flow is going to decrease. Top of descent, we're going to be slowing down a lot. Top of descent, we're going to be probably around 180 knots. Power is going to be way back, if not close to idle. So the fuel flow is going to drop, and the fuel remaining is going to increase. Theoretically. We can have fun stuff like suddenly we get an increase in the headwind once we clear this mountain range, which we're getting close here. We're going to be below that mountaintop. Let's see what that looks like from the outside. Oh man. Talking about bad ideas. That's just a bad idea. So based upon my flight plan, I have looked and seen mountaintops, peaks, what we can clear. And according to all the information I have, we're going to make it through here. That's with sub 600 feet of clearance. There's 640, 700. There's a valley below. But this is getting very, very close to the ground at very, very high speeds. From this point on out, once we clear these hills here, we have descending terrain, but like right now we've got no headwind, no discernible wind from any particular direction, because we're doing some crazy stuff. But yeah, we're gonna shoot right across here, and then the train's gonna start coming back down. Now I'm hoping we do not get an additional headwind, because if we do, that's gonna slow us down and increase our fuel burn. And using these tools, which that's all they are, it's just a tool. There can be error in there. Right now our fuel flow is high. That's somewhere between, we might land with, I imagine, less than 50 pounds. Let's see. Let's see what we can do. Hopefully we don't die. And there's that crosswind again. 7 knots. Nothing crazy, thankfully. Yet. And efficiency. So the higher this number gets, the better efficiency you have. So having a tool like this, I don't believe the Starship had that much as far as tech. I mean, obviously it's got a lot of technology, but this is all, you know, mid to late 80s tech in an aircraft. Definitely most state-of-the-art plane at the time it was released, no doubt. I still think one of my favorite things is seeing these forward wings swing forward. So they're almost a forward swept wing. Let's have a look. Where's our top of descent here? VNAV calculator. Target altitude. Cool, because it can calculate based upon its known altitude. We're not far from it. 54 nautical miles. So let's start running through our checklists here. Descent preparation. Runway, weather heading, all those things we're good with. ILS frequency. Are we doing an ILS? I believe we are. Flight plan. Oops. Procedure. ILS frequency. What's the... Approach info. Frequencies. ILS runway 01. Fuel low warning. ILS 11130. Nav. Okay. Minimums. Let's get our decision height. .000 feet. Passenger signs, we don't have any. Doesn't matter. Autopilot, pre-select target altitude, final fix. So we're gonna go. Final approach fix is 3600. Vertical speed is gonna be 500 feet a minute. And there's left and right tanks, low on fuel. So we're going to keep our speed up till we hit a top of descent. Fuel-wise, we are not looking good. Okay. Actually a little cold here. It's going to keep giving the cautionary warning because of the right and left fuel levels. Maybe you should throw the co-pilot out. No, probably not. Now we've got a 9-knot straight crosswind, so we might get lucky and get a slight tailwind out of this. Probably not, but we'll see. Oh, apparently Dallas Airport had police swarming a aircraft after a threatening note was found in the aircraft's toilet. And flight delays, ground stops surge amid staffing crisis in the U.S. Yeah, the government being shut down doesn't help things when it comes to aviation, that's for sure. All right, we're 21 and a half nautical miles from our top of descent. And we've got 182 pounds of fuel on board. Oh, this is stressful. This is stressful, and this is a simulation. Fuel required 120. Oof. Okay, well, staring at it's not going to help, I guess. $17 nautical miles. Should be the next message that displays right here. Pop-up message right when we get to that. Oh, there's a, oh, look at that. That crosswind is now turning into a tailwind. That tailwind's going to push us on the on the approach. All right. So, max flap extension 180, max gears 200. Hopefully you don't lose engines, but single engine best climb 115. Single engine best rate still 130. Best angles at 115. Best rate on 2 is 140. Okay. So we're just about there. 7 nautical miles. About a minute from top of descent. We've got a couple airports right off our left-hand side here. One that's going to be right below us. Another one right over here. Actually, one's kind of behind us. Not that we can see that. Okay. Yeah, fuel low. Approaching top of descent. Ten seconds out. Top of descent. Coming down. Pull back that power. We're going to keep those, the gear in. And I'm surprised I haven't heard from a controller, but it's because it didn't announce it.
Yokota, approach. Beechcraft, November 786 Bravo Papa, 5900.
Beechcraft November 786 Bravo Papa, Yokoto approach, altimeter 3037, radar contact, continue.
I'm going to cancel my flight following.
Yokoto approach, Beechcraft 6 Bravo Papa, cancel flight following.
Beechcraft 6 Bravo Papa, Yokoto approach, cancellation received. Squawk 7000, frequency change approved.
Yokoto approach, Beechcraft November 786 Bravo Papa is type Beechcraft Starship, 2 miles northwest of Romeo, Juliet Uniform Kilo Zulu, 5600. Request flight following.
Beechcraft November 786 Bravo Papa, Yokoto approach. Squawk 1004. Beechcraft 6 Bravo Papa, radar contact 2 miles southwest of Romeo Juliet 84 X-ray, 5300. Altimeter 3033.
Roger, Beechcraft 6 Bravo Papa.
Alright, we're coming down. Ruh-roh. I think. We've lost our right engine. Okay, well, that's fun. Still on our GPS. Still coming down. Just about 3600. I'll level off. A bit more throttle on there. Close enough to approach. We're going to go gear down. Landing lights coming on. And I'll put our flaps out. Flaps, forward wings, currently in transit. We've got 3 green on our gear. We can get our auto feather on, our sync coming off. We're going to get auto ignitions to arm. Props are going to go full forward. because we've got auto feathers on. Slowing down. Let's get a bit more speed here. 3,600. We're going to need 2,000. Keep the speed above 150. Airport's going to be off to the left there. Okay. Menu. Okay, and let's get approach mode in. Menu, procedures, activate our approach. Making our left turn. I'm going to disable the yaw damper now. Already off. Good stuff. Tell me my plan. This waypoint. Armed. Target altitude 2,000 feet. Enter. Speed. Making our turn. 2,500, a little high. It's okay though. Overshot that turn. We've got runway lights. Autopilot off. Why is the autopilot still on? Off. Come on. Autopilot off. This trim's trying to kill me. That's steep, but it will do. Outer marker beacon. Just my aiming point. Ground fine. And there's the jitters and bullshit that is Xbox. And we're in beta. Reversers. Out of beta. So with running fuel that low, bad idea. So let's taxi over to the parking here and do a real quick shutdown. Parking to the right. Wow, look how jittery that is. Bonk. Ran him over. Okay, park brake. Feathered. Shut down. Flaps up. Landing and taxi lights. Taxi lights coming back off. Ignitions off. All that can come off. Generators can come off. Heats. All those get to come off. And ICAS 2, battery, ICAS off. And we're here. We made it. There it is. And the next flight, we're going to check out the wonderful world of the Mount Fuji. So make sure you tune in then. All right, guys, we'll catch you next time.